to learn and grow.
My name is Oyebode Esther. I studied religious studies at the University of Ibadan.
My name is Ifeoluwa. I studied cell biology and genetics in the University of Lagos, after which I got a job working in the bank.
My name is Regina Taiwo. You wouldn't believe I studied architecture in school.
I knew there was more, so I decided to take a leap. Currently, I am a product designer and a product manager.
I'm currently a motion graphics designer.
Presently, I am a data scientist and an AWS cloud engineer.
I understand that being a lady is not a disadvantage, so I embrace tech.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
Now I can say I'm a thriving Texas.
Are you ready to break new grounds and join the world of tech? The Ladies in Tech Africa initiative is a commemorative bootcamp in honor of our visionary, Pastor Mrs. Folu Adeboye, as we join her in thanking God for her 76th birthday celebration. This program is designed to help you make your career shift a reality. Registration is open and you can register via the link on your screen right now.
Imagine.
Jesus, okay. Lord. Okay. Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Can you confirm if you can hear me clearly? All right, okay. Thank you for joining today's class. Hope you had a great day, because I did. I welcome you especially once again to this class. For those that were not here yesterday, my name is Peace, and I'm one of the facilitators that will be taking you on cybersecurity for this bootcamp training. I'm going to do a recap briefly on what we did yesterday. Yesterday was the introduction of what would be doing for this boot camp, right? So, please, 1 second. Okay. Please confirm if you can see my slide. Is my slide up? Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So, a quick one for those that were not in class. Yesterday, we had a rundown of our modules, our study modules for the period of this training. And I'll just do a brief rundown. We're going to talk. Oh, we had already started with the introduction to cybersecurity. We were able to define what cybersecurity is, right? That was done yesterday. And then that's under module 1. We have our module 2 that talks about network security, module 3, operating system security. Module 4, we have security, policies and compliance. Module 5, cryptography and secure communications. For module 6, we have secure communications. 7, we have wireless security. 8, we have cloud security. 9, we have digital forensics and incident response. And 10, we have incident response. 11 is penetration testing and vulnerability. Yeah, 12, we have security awareness and training. 13, we have advanced security topics. And then 14, it's our capstone project, where we'll be handling real world cybersecurity projects and also having project plans, execution, and presentation. Okay, for today, we had already talked of what cybersecurity is all about. We said yesterday that it is a practice of protecting and mitigating attacks on systems, on organizations, on networks, on individuals, right? So basically, this is what cybersecurity is all about. We talked about the policies. We talked about where this security or where these policies are being applied. They could be applied on network security and on networks, on our applications, on our information, on our operations, on how we recover disasters or when such attacks are being meted out, and then the end user education, where I emphasized that the end user education cannot be overemphasized, right? That as an end user, you should be able to know when an attack is coming, right? And so the end user education is very important because it helps you know and also mitigates some of these cyber crimes, right? And we also talked about offensive security, where we talked about briefly on ethical hackers. We call them friendly spies, and we talked of the offensive the defensive cybersecurity, where we talked of risks, management, access control, and all of that, right? So now, it's just a brief review of what we did yesterday. For today, we'll be talking on cybersecurity landscape, right? Today, we'll be talking on cybersecurity landscape. Um, what is cybersecurity landscape? Of course, we should know what it is first, and then we'll know what it entails. The cybersecurity landscape, also known as cyber threat landscape, some people use cyber threat landscape while others prefer using cybersecurity landscape, refers to the comprehensive view of potential cybersecurity dangers, right? And identified threats that individuals and organizations face using the internet. So the landscape here talks about the dangers, the threats that are being identified when individuals, organizations, when systems face using the internet. Okay, this cybersecurity landscape encompasses one, various risks and vulnerabilities. We're going to look briefly on that. Weaknesses in systems and human factors, malicious actors and their tactics, potential attack routes, and some other ones that are not listed here. The landscape provides insights into the complex security challenges, okay, that exist, helping to inform strategies for mitigation and protection. This landscape, in other words, helps end users, helps organizations, helps systems to really identify threats when they see one, and also mitigate those threats once they are found um, around their systems. Okay, so, and under this, we'll be talking of various risks and vulnerabilities. We'll talk about risk and we'll talk about vulnerabilities. Risk and vulnerabilities, are they the same, or are they two different words? Or what is risk? What is vulnerability? We're going to look at all of that. And then weaknesses in systems and human factors. All of these are threats that systems usually go through, right? And then we also talk of malicious actors and their tactics. What are these malicious actors? What do they really do, and what tactics do they use in attacking systems and organizations or network? Okay. Now we'll look at the key components in cybersecurity landscape. We talked of these actors. One, we have the threat actors. Yeah, this landscape features a wide range of threat actors, including state-sponsored hackers, organized crime groups, activists, and insider threats, and also individual hackers. When we talk of actors, just as I want to put it down in a layman's understanding, whereby everyone can, okay. Okay, so what are these actors? Who are these actors that play out these threats? And how do they carry out these threats in cyber, right? In the internet, in the network? What do they really do? What are their roles? What do they perform, right? Well, when you call someone an actor, it means there's a role he or she performs in acting on one thing or the other, right? So now these threat actors, we have, they are widely ranged. We have state-sponsored hackers. So you wouldn't be surprised if government sponsors hacking, right? And also have groups that they really, really sponsor. And then, yes, these are what we call the state-sponsored hackers. These are hackers backed by governments, often involved in espionage and cyber warfare. Like if you take for instance the war in the Middle East, you could find out traces of state-sponsored hackers, whereby the government are fully aware and are also fully involved in hacking some other countries' websites or I'm sorry, database and all of that, or their cyberspace, right? So we have this government sponsored hackers. They are called the state sponsored hackers. Then we have organized crime groups. These groups aim to make money through activities like ransomware attacks and fraud. These are groups that really they are known that they are groups that hack systems, they hack networks, and their intention is just to make their money, right? When we start talking of ransomware, you know why they are called ransomware. Okay, so organized crime groups are hackers that come together, and their aim is to cause mayhem, to seize or to hack a website, or to even get hold of sensitive information. And then at the end of the day, once they ask you to pay a ransom, once you pay the ransom, they release your system, or they release your network, right? So these are organized crime groups, and they are in existence. It is not something they don't hide about it. They don't do it in secret, right? They are known, they have names, right? So you could just go further and know some of these crime groups that have like the effrontery to commit all of this crime in the cyberspace. We also have activists. These are individuals or groups motivated by political or social causes, right? For instance, we have when we have political or social unrests, you could find out that there are individuals that can hack into some organizations' space, right? And then these are part of what we're talking about. These are individuals that hack into either organizations or into a group or school, banks, and all of that. There are individuals that do such, that carry out such activities. Okay, now we have insider threats. Here we'll be talking of employees or contractors or individuals that work within an organization. For instance, the IT guys, the IT professionals, the guys that the tech guys that work in organizations, right? And because they have this should I say knowledge of what the space looks like. So these are insider threats. I could remember some years back where this issue of people being debited, right, with ATM cards. You might have your ATM card with you, but along the line, you find out that you're being debited. So, and along the line, it was clearly noted that some of these things that happened were as a result of insider threats. We have attackers in the banks, insider threats, people that are working, employees that are in the system. They know how to go about what they do, and then they get away with it. I think currently there's a banker, right? I wouldn't want to mention the bank's name, that has disappeared into thin air, right? Because he had carted away with billions of naira, and then he's an insider. So we have a lot of such in organizations and in around us, contractors, those that you pay to man your space could be insiders that also threaten your cyber security. And then we have individual hackers, sorry, independent hackers with various motivations, right? And then they carry out whatever they want to do. They can hack your phone, they can hack your email and all of that. So these are individual hackers. Okay. All right. So we just talked about the last one we talked was threat hackers, under which we had all of these. Then now we are talking, remember we're discussing cybersecurity landscape, right? And one of it is the threat actors. Then we have attackers. Vectors attackers. These attackers use several methods to compromise systems, right? Um, when we're discussing the actors, we know actors has to do with individuals, has to do with personalities, right? So, but this time around, we are talking of attackers that attack vectors, right? Okay, so these attackers are these attackers use several methods to compromise systems. They have various methods to compromise systems, and these include phishing emails, sending fake emails designed to steal sensitive information. Most times we get these emails from maybe your trusted party, for instance, your bank, your school, or maybe an organization you belong to. And then they send these emails through, your email addresses, and you feel, oh, my bank has sent something to me, I need to open all of this, and you wouldn't know that it's a phishing email. Along the line, we will explain what phishing is, right? So you don't need to bother. Then we have malware, malicious software like viruses, worms, and ransomware. These are vectors. Then we have social engineering. We know it's a bit on the rise now. Tricks to manipulate people into giving up confidential information. We all know of this trick that most times, especially if you're from this part of the continent where I am from, someone picks up his phone, calls you, and then ask you some questions, trying to trick you to give up some of your confidential data, maybe concerning your bank or your whatever. So things that are so confidential that on a normal shouldn't be disclosed to anyone. So these are vector attackers. They usually use social engineering, tricking and manipulating people to give up confidential information. We have the SQL injection and cross-site scripting, techniques that exploit vulnerabilities in web applications. You see, this kind of technique is usually when hackers know that there is a vulnerable pathway for them to access any web application. Then we also have the distributed denial of service attack, flooding systems with unnecessary traffic, right? Most times you want to do something in a particular website, and then you see that it's not going, a lot of traffic. Most times some of these sites are being cloned, and then traffic are being pushed, just flooding systems with traffic to disrupt services. And these are some of the vectors attack that we face, like using the internet day by day. If you've not got, I'm sure, like from these ones, you would have experienced one or two of these, right? So distributed denial of service, you might find out that a system or a network is not going the way it should. The flow of data, the flow of information is not the way it should. And you wouldn't know that these guys are somewhere just feeding the system with unnecessary traffic to disrupt services. All of these are attacks, right? Okay. So we have vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are weaknesses in system, right? And they are weaknesses in systems that attackers can exploit. This time around, the weaknesses is not found in maybe through social engineering or through phishing and all of that. But this time around, vulnerabilities actually talks of weaknesses that are found in systems that are connected online, right? So when these vulnerabilities are being exposed to hack attackers, they find their way to cause their mayhem. So some of these vulnerabilities could be unpatched software. I will be talking of patch management. I think then you have a clearer understanding of what patch is. It has to do with updating your softwares and all of that, right? So most times when software are not updated, these guys will now have, a way of attacking. So unpatched software, yeah, like I rightly said, software that hasn't been updated with the latest security patches. Once you're behind your security, you know, upgrade, there's every tendency that an attack can happen, right? Then weak credentials, easy to guess passwords, or lack of multi-factor authentication, right? So this one, I think a layman, most times we would want to have very easy passwords that you can easily remember, but we wouldn't know that some of these are gateway for attackers, are gateway for hackers, right? When you have weak passwords that can be guessed easily. Maybe you're fond of writing 1 2 3 ABC and all of that. These are weak passwords, and they are easily hacked. They are easily, they can just get over them easily. And that's why this time around, most times there are some sites you will enter, or there are accounts you would want to open, and when you are being demanded to create a password, there are minimum, or there are, let me say, minimum values or minimum characters of words or letters that will be allowed as your password, right? So weak credentials, easy to guess password, or lack of multi-factor authentication. Yes, because of the rise in all of this, everyone is expected or encouraged to have a multi-factor authentication app, right? Why not just you wanting to gain access to a particular, maybe your email or some other things. You need a multiple authentication. That is what multi-factor authentication means. You don't just enter your password and you're good to go. No, there should be a form of authentication. Oh, are you really the person that is about to enter? Okay, questions from YouTube. This was a legal. Okay, someone just asked a question here. Are sponsored hackers legal? Two, are there punishment for individual hackers? Yes. State sponsored hackers. Remember I said these are government sponsored, right? So government has they have the license to hack into any space, right, that they feel is threatening, and so they are sponsored and they are legal. Well, there are punishments for individual hackers. Yes, there are punishments for individual hackers. So that is why you wouldn't say when you're done with this our bootcamp training, you're now an ethical hacker. That is why it is called ethical hacking. There are ethics for hacking. So if you go, contrary to the ethics, you'll be punished. So yeah, there are punishments for individual hackers. I guess that has answered that question. Okay, thank you so much for that question. Right, then we have misconfiguration, incorrect settings in software or hardware, right? Just you didn't take the right step, you didn't do what you're supposed to do, maybe during configuration or during your setup. It gives ways to, for hackers to really strike. Then unsecured application programming interfaces that lack proper security measures, right? There are APIs that are unsecure. There are APIs that are way below the standard. So it's a gateway for hackers, right? And then also we have the 0-day vulnerabilities, flaws that are unknown to the vendor, and they cannot be fixed. No, the vendor has no idea, right, of these flaws, of this let me say, of this vulnerability space. So this 0-day vulnerability, even the vendor has no idea of how to fix it, right? So that is why software patching or patch management is really what we cannot overemphasize. So because there are vendors, there are flaws that are unknown to vendors, and then they wouldn't even know how to fix it, right? Okay, thank you for your question. All right, let's go ahead. Another security landscape we'll talk about is the emerging technologies, right? We know that these days we have a lot of technologies pumping up, a lot of things happening, technology by the day, and we have some of this. I just listed some of them here that we should look into. New technologies bring both opportunities and challenges to cybersecurity, right? We have new, in as much as we really appreciate new technologies, we should also bear at the back of our mind that these new technologies also have their challenges attached to them. One of these technologies we're talking about is the AI, the artificial intelligence and machine language used for detecting threats, but also by attackers to create sophisticated attacks, right? Artificial intelligence, there is nothing absolutely, let's say, let's use this word. For now, apart from, let's say, maybe very few tasks that the AI cannot do. So artificial intelligence, in as much as it's a welcome development in technology, it also creates sophisticated attacks. Yes, and also machine language. They are good, they are emerging technologies, but well, everything that has an advantage also has a disadvantage, right? So also we have Internet of Things, the IoT, increases the number of connected devices, expanding attack surfaces, right? So because of this Internet of Things, many devices are interconnected, right? Many devices, unlike it wasn't like this before now, but now you see that because of the emergence of this Internet of Things, we have a lot of connected devices. Now my device is connected to the space now, right? Internet of Things connects various devices. You're connected to me, you can hear me, I can share my screen, so these are connections that expands attack surfaces, right? So we all should also have this in mind, that because as we also enjoy this emerging technology, we should also have in mind that attacks are being expanded. Then we have the blockchain. The blockchain provides enhanced security but introduces, okay, I wanted to be sure I don't have any question. Okay, thank you. Provides enhanced security but introduces new challenges like securing smart contracts. We know what blockchain is all about. So it enhances security, sure, but it also introduces challenges like you need to secure your contracts, you need to secure your deals and all of that. Then we have the cloud computing, requires strong security measures to protect data stored and processed in the cloud. Of course, we know we have the cloud computing providers. We have the Microsoft, we have the AWS, and we have the Google. They are the um, commonly used cloud computing agents. So, and you'd see this time around, you can save your documents on in cloud. You can use one and some other tools. So, but in as much as we have cloud computing, it requires strong security measures to protect data stored and processed in the cloud. So all of these emerging technologies have their advantages and also their disadvantages. And even the last I stated here is the 5G. Is the 5G. Sorry. We have the 5G. It offers fast connectivity, but also potential new vulnerabilities, right? The way it connects fast, the way it also helps to connect hacking and all of their activities. Okay. We're going to look briefly today at cybersecurity trends, all right, under cybersecurity landscape. One current trend shapes the cybersecurity landscape, shaping the cybersecurity landscape include, and I want to make this clear. There's a difference between threats and trends. Yeah, I need to put out that very clearly. There's a difference between cybersecurity threats and cybersecurity trends, right? So now we have for the trends, we have the zero trust architecture assumes threats could be both inside and outside the network. So when you talk about this zero trust, we know what zero trust is. No one is trusted in an organization. You don't really say, okay, we trust our access control or our data sharing. This trend assumes threats could be both inside and outside the network. So an attack can happen from your organization or from the network you're using. An attack can also happen from outside, right? So the zero trust architecture emphasizes strict access control. You don't trust you don't trust your network within and your network outside. So it emphasizes strict access control. All measures should be put in place before data or information are being accessed or before networks are being accessed. You don't just take anything for granted, or maybe because we are all in the same network, so thing cannot happen and all of that. So this zero trust architecture has the name zero trust. You're not trusting anybody. You're trusting nobody, whether inside your network or outside your network. So, and it has to be with you bringing up strategies to control your data strictly, or having very strict access control over your network. Then we have cybersecurity mesh, a flexible modular security architecture that integrates solutions across distributed environments, right? Then we have behavioral analytics using AI to analyze user behavior and detect anomalies. So when you find out that this guy is behaving somehow, that's what we're talking about. The AI has a tool, has our emerging technology. When you find out that a particular individual, or there's a strange behavior in your network, right? In your network, when you find out there's a strange behavior in your network, you have to detect why am I saying this? Why is all this coming up? Should this be a sign of an attack, right? Should this be a sign of a vulnerability somewhere and all of that? So yeah, behavioral analytics is also a very good one. Then regulatory compliance, increasing increasing regulations around increasing regulations around data protection and privacy, right? So you regulate who has access to a particular data, who gains access to a particular data, who is permitted, right? Who is granted permission to data, a particular data, and all of that. If you're working in the finance, of course, you should know that the finance team should have access to some data. Administrative team have access to some kind of data. So when you see like an admin officer or an admin person gaining access to data or to information that is not supposed, then you know that something is wrong somewhere. So, any question on this? Any question so far? Okay. Sorry, I want to join the live streaming. Please, any question? Please helping me out. Okay. And while I try to join, all right. So now, okay. And while I try to join, okay, okay. So now, accessing security training. Okay. Someone asked me to go over cybersecurity. I'm trying to pick. Okay. Someone asked me. Please, I need help. Okay. He said none for now. All right. So now we'll be talking about cyber resilience. Building resilience involves incident response plan, prepare for and responding to cyber incidents. Because once you make up your mind that as I said earlier, as I said yesterday, no system or no network is 100% safe. So when you have that at the back of your mind, what do you do? Right? What do you actually do when you know no system is 100% safe? All right. So one, you have to go through this incident response plans, preparing for and responding to cyber incidents. Two, you have to regular backups, right? That cannot be overemphasized. Regular backups. Ensure data can be restored in case of an attack. Because most times, once your network is attacked, your system is attacked, it's very difficult to restore some of your data. So having a backup will help you start up from where the attack took place, and then you continue. It doesn't really mean once you're attacked, then that's the end of the whole thing. No, regular backups helps restore in cases of um, attack, right? Then we have we have continuous monitoring, keeping an eye on
The world of technology is constantly evolving, which means there's always an opportunity to learn and grow.
My name is Oyebode Esther. I studied religious studies at the University of Ibadan.
My name is Ifeoluwa. I studied cell biology and genetics in University of Lagos, after which I got a job working in the bank.
My name is Regina Taiwo. You wouldn't believe I studied architecture in school.
I knew there was more, so I decided to take a leap. Currently, I am a product designer and a product manager.
I'm currently a motion graphics designer.
Presently, I am a data scientist and an AWS cloud engineer.
I understand that being a lady is not a disadvantage, so I embrace tech.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
Now I can say I'm a thriving Texas.
Are you ready to break new grounds and join the world of tech? The Ladies in Tech Africa initiative is a commemorative bootcamp in honor of our visionary, Pastor Mrs. Folu Adeboye, as we join her in thanking God for her 76th birthday celebration. This program is designed to help you make your career shift a reality. Registration is open and you can register via the link on your screen right now.
Okay, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. Right, so we're actually talking about cyber resilience. Building resilience involves incident response plan, preparing for and responding to cyber incidents. What do you do when it happens, right? So you don't wait for an attack to happen before you have plans, right? So then secondly, we'll have regular backups. I was talking of doing a regular backups, even what's it called? Does WhatsApp does that, right? Depending on your setting. So a regular backup on organizations, on systems, on network is cannot be talked down. So regular backups helps to ensure that data are restored, information are restored in case of an attack. Then we also have continuous monitoring, keeping an eye on systems to detect and respond to threat in real time. Yeah, when you most times the ideas comes to this to play out this when you have intrusion detection systems that um, gives a report or a response when there's an intrusion or when an attack is being detected. So continuous monitoring also is a part of this. Then collaboration, sharing threats, intelligence, and best practices between organizations and sectors. When you share um, um, knowledge on threats and also on intelligence about what's happening around your organization or your network. It also helps so that information sharing also is part of building resilience, right? Okay. Then we also have geopolitical tensions. Cybersecurity are increasingly used as tools for geopolitical conflicts, targeting conflicts in critical infrastructure, government agencies, and private sector organizations to gain strategic advantages, right? Okay, these are for politics, geographical, geopolitical tension, creating unnecessary. There's something we call false alarm, right? Whereby things that are not really what they are being raised, and then everyone is put under pressure of all of that. And then here, the skills gap. There is a significant shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals, making it challenging for organizations to defend against evolving threats and maintain robust security posture. Understanding the cybersecurity landscape is crucial for developing strategies to protect against potential threats and ensure that information or network or systems and data are safe, right? So when you know all of this cybersecurity landscape, what is all about, what do I see in my network that it's a pointer that, oh, something is wrong? Is it behavioral? Is it behavioral? Is it phishing? Is it? So all of these are what you should know. And how do you get to know all of this? Is, as I said, bridging the gap. Collaboration cannot be overemphasized. Talking to the end users, having conversation with end users, alerting end users of evolving or emerging hacking tactics and all of that. So all of this can bridge the gap of cybersecurity, or sorry, of attacks on systems, right? So when we bridge this gap of allowing others know what is happening, maintaining our security postures and also our skills, it helps curb some of these attacks on networks and on systems. Okay, please, before I go further, is there any question? I'm going into the next topic, so I would want to entertain questions, please. Yeah, any question? Okay, I think I need to go through it. Let me check if I have questions. Please, any question? Do you have questions based on cybersecurity landscape? Any questions? Okay. Okay, no questions. All right, thank you so much. So, in as much as we are having a boot camp, a virtual one, I would ask questions. So, because we're in the class, right? So, get ready for my questions. Yeah, can someone just briefly? I talked about the difference between cybersecurity threats and cybersecurity trends. So, can someone briefly tell us what? Um, does anyone have an understanding of that concept? As I'm free to ask questions, I'm in a class. It's an interactive bootcamp training. So, can someone help us with the answer to this? What's the difference between cybersecurity threats, when we talk of threats, and then trend and threats? These are two different words. Can someone help us out? Someone asked me to go over cybersecurity. Over cybersecurity. Over cybersecurity. Okay, yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see some of the answers here. Okay, yeah, someone said threats. Yeah, I can see. Threats is the problems being faced, while trend is what is needed to be known to avoid the. All right. The problems being faced, while trend is what is needed to be known to avoid the. All right. Okay, thank you very much. It means we're all together. Yeah, as the word implies threats, right? Okay, thank you very much. It means together. Yeah, as the word implies, threats means something that it's harmful, right? It's a threat. While trend is what is in vogue. Something that what is actually in vogue, and then that will help prevent the harm from coming. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, am I here? Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, now, so finally, let me wrap this up. The cybersecurity landscape. The cyber security landscape differs from sector to sector due to variation in assets, and we can all agree to that. Vulnerabilities and motivations. So, what the finance sector face has vulnerability is different from what the health sector would face. So, cyber security landscape differs from sector to sector due to variation in assets, vulnerabilities, and motivation. For instance, the financial sector faces threats related to financial fraud and thefts, while the energy sector is targeted for disruption of supplies, to critical infrastructure. The health sector the health sector threat landscape may include targeted attacks aiming to compromise sensitive patient information or disrupt critical healthcare services. I want to talk a little on this because in Nigeria, for instance, if you go to FMC in Lagos, Ibute Meta, right, we found out that they don't do manual kind of hospital management. They are kind of health the what they do there is automated, right? All Everything from you getting your card, you seeing a doctor, running your test, paying your bills, paying whatever, it is all automated. So when an organization like this is now a target for hackers, what do you think they would do? Their aim is to compromise sensitive patient information and also to disrupt healthcare services. Well, I'm very sure that at FMC, there is nothing that is being done manually, right? So you could see that if anything happens to their network, every service there is disrupted automatically. So yeah, it's different from what the financial sector face. So that is why I just concluded here by saying that cybersecurity landscape differs from sector to sector due to variation in assets, and that's the services they provide, and also motivation for their services. Thank you so much. Okay. Now we want to look at types of cyber threats. Types of cyber threats. Yes. One will talk about the malware. Our next class should be, yeah, I saw someone asking if the class is for every day. No, I think the schedule must have been sent. So our next class would be on Thursday. Yes, our next class will be on Thursday, and hopefully that Thursday we'll have to do a little hands-on based on this particular topic. I'm about talking um of, right? So types of cyber threats. One, we have the malware. Malware means malicious software. Okay. You should keep checking your emails. All of this will be communicated via your email. So whatever information you need will be communicated via your emails. Thank you very much. So types of cyber threats. And that was why I asked us to try and say what a threat is. Now we have one, the malware. Malware means malicious ware. Malicious ware is any software designed by cyber criminals to cause problems for computers and networks. For computers and networks. It can steal, this malware we're talking about can steal private information, give unauthorized access to systems, block access to data, or interfere with your computer's security and privacy without your knowledge, right? So these are actually what malware does. Malware means malicious ware, something that keeps malice, right? Malice, malicious. So malicious ware is any software designed by cyber criminals to cause problems for computers, for networks, and their aim is to steal private information, give unauthorized access to systems, block access to data, or interfere with your computer's security and privacy without your knowledge. So, this is what malware is all about. Can we go for a break, like a minute's break? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Welcome back. Common types of malware. Remember, we just said we're looking at types of cyber threats, right? We the first one we want to talk about is the malware. And I said malware is any software designed by cyber criminals to cause problems for computers, for networks, for organizations, right? It can steal, and the aim of a malware is to steal private information, to give unauthorized access to systems, to block access to data, or interfere with your computer's security and privacy without your knowledge. Okay, now we have common types of malware include we have virus. Of course, all of us know what viruses are. Is a computer virus is a kind of harmful software that attaches itself to a program or file. It can copy itself and spread throughout an infected system. Once a virus is attached to a file, it infects the system, the entire system. Yeah. And then move on to other systems similar to how a biological virus spreads from person to person, right? So that is the way virus works. The way biological virus spreads, that's the way the malware virus also spreads. The software called virus also spread. So once it infects a system, it can attach to other programs or documents, change or delete them, or even control how the computer or devices works. Most times you find out that your system, maybe you're typing something, it starts misbehaving, types it on its own, sends, and a whole lot of things. So this is an indication that a virus is present in that system, that system has been infected with a virus. And remember, we're talking of types of malware. And one I said is the virus. Two, we have worm. Yeah, worm is a harmful software that spreads on its own without needing any help from people. It doesn't need any human help. It can move from one computer to another over the internet. While virus, it attaches itself to a file. For instance, an infected file, you copy the file, or maybe you downloaded an infected file from the internet, over the internet, and then it gets into your system, then it starts. But for this It doesn't need your help. It doesn't need you to download anything. It moves from one computer to another over the internet or over your local area network. So we have some common types of worms. We have email worms. These worms spread through email attachments or links, right? Then when you open the infected attachment or click the link, the worm activates and starts spreading to your email contacts. Remember, you just opened your email, it passed through the internet, right? It's not as if you downloaded it yourself, you just passed through the internet and that's how it gets to the system. Example of this email ones, we have the Beagle and we have the MyDom. Then we have the internet worms, also called network worms. It exploits weaknesses in operating systems to spread. This time around, its mode of spreading is via the OS. They can scan the internet for other vulnerable systems and infect them. Once they found out that the operating system of a particular network or yes is vulnerable, then it's gets its way into it, often without any user action also. And an example here is the SQL slammer. Okay. Then we have the file sharing worms. These worms spread through file sharing networks. They disguise themselves as legitimate files, and when you download and open these files, the worm infects your system and continues to spread. So it is very, very important you are very careful with the kind of files you open, especially if those files are being shared over a network. We have example of those file sharing worms. We have Casa A worm and MyTomb worm. Then we have the instant messaging worm. These worms spread through instant messaging apps like your WhatsApp, your Skype, or Messenger. So even your WhatsApp is not safe. Most times people have experiences of all of a sudden your WhatsApp stops responding, messages are being deleted, and all of that, you know. Even hacking into other people's WhatsApp, yeah, sending messages and all of that. So these are instant messaging worms. These ones spread through instant messaging apps like WhatsApp, Skype, or Messenger. They send malicious link to your contacts, and when someone clicks on the link, the system gets infected. Okay, so that's that for instant messaging worm. Have you seen that this cybersecurity has to do even with your mobile applications? So it's not just maybe your laptops or your systems and all of that. Your mobile phones, your WhatsApp can also be on your system as well. So cybersecurity, we have a few questions, Ma. Okay, please go ahead. Using examples of please differentiate between assets when to motivation as well as to cyber crimes. Okay. Okay. Using examples, Ma, please differentiate between assets, vulnerabilities, and motivation as regards to cyber crimes. Okay, what I mean by assets, I just gave an example when I was talking about the hospital management system, right? Whereby that's their own kind of services. The assets here means their own kind of services. The services that are being rendered differs, right? So we have different services for different sectors, different services for different organizations. So that's the assets they have. And then vulnerability means I was talking of giving exploits space. There's a loophole How vulnerable is this sector? How vulnerable is a system that house some of this sector? How vulnerable are these systems, right? For instance, the hospital management system, how vulnerable are these systems? The financial sector, they also have their own vulnerabilities. The education sector have their own vulnerabilities and all of that. So different sectors have their own assets, services they provide, and also that leads to the level of vulnerabilities be um, that can be assigned or identified with that. And then motivation means for criminals, for cyber criminals. When I was starting, we talked of ransomware. Their motive is once you pay them a ransom, they release your data or your information some. Most times you pay the ransom and then your data or your information is gone. So different cyber criminals have different motives for doing what they do, right? So in cyber crimes, they have different motives. Some want to bring the organization down, some as a result of maybe competition and all of that, while some for their own interests, like they want to make money. Okay, so I think that will serve for that, right? I have a question. The issue of mobile banks with access to friends' mobile numbers after giving out loans to people, does it mean they have unauthorized access to customer info? I have a question, ma'am. The issue of mobile banks with access to friends' mobile numbers. Okay. No, 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 no. I think you're talking of all of these mobile loans, right? No, they have access to, because it's like you're entering into an agreement, you're reaching an agreement with them, right? That, all right, does it mean they have unauthorized access to customers' info? No, those mobile banks, they have access, because whatever they get, I'm sure you must have, maybe for those that go on this mobile loan, you drop your friend's number or someone very close to you, and then they have the authority to access the customer's info, even in banks. Yes, not just mobile banks. Even in banks, they have. That's why when you fill in a form, you might see where you'll need to add your next of kin, a phone number, and all of that. So they have authority to access customers' information. It helps them. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Any other question? Any question? Okay. Thank you. All right. IRS worms. We are talking of worms, internet relay chats worms. They are called the IRC worms. IRC means internet relay chat worms, spread through channels. They send messages with malicious links to users in the chat room. For instance, now we are using StreamYard, right, for our live streaming, and we have a chat room, right? So if it's not properly guarded, there are chances that malicious links could just be sent on our chat room, and then once you click on it, your system is infected already, because at the back behind that link is the intent of that criminal activity, right? So whenever you see a link you're not too sure of, and it's not coming from maybe the organizers of that program, if you're in a live chat or if you're in a chat room, you are advised not to click on such links. Most times They do that in systems that have a lot of traffic, like events that can generate lots of traffic, where you have thousands of people live writing on the chats room and all of that, and then you see someone just drops a link, and maybe something very very interesting, because they work with traffic when they say that a whole lot of traffic is generated through that chat room. Then those guys drop some of this malicious link for uninformed participants. So you're always advised not to click on links you're not sure of. Then the third kind of malware, remember we talked of virus, we talked of worms, and now we're talking of Trojan. Trojan is also known as the Trojan horse. A Trojan, also known as Trojan horse, is a malicious software that pretends to be a safe file or program, and it tricks people into installing it. Once it is on your computer, it can do some things like stealing personal information and creating secret access points. We call it backdoor. Yes, we call that backdoor. They create secret backdoor, and then your information is being taken out from your system without your knowledge. So, Trojan is also a malicious software that pretends to be a safe file or program, and they trick people to install them. You find mostly in some of these files, or some of these should I say applications that comes up mostly when you want to download some an app. You'll see maybe a game. Yes, a game coming up, and then you'll be asked to install or download. So we should be very careful. These are tactics they use in infecting systems, right? Okay. Trojan steals personal information, creates secret access points. They can make hidden ways for hackers to get into your systems, so you should be very careful. They spy on you. Trojans can watch what you do on your computer, like the keys you press and the websites you visit, right? When they spy on you, these are what they really want to get: the keys you press, the websites you readily visit, and all of that. Then interference with your computer, with your system. They can slow down your computer, delete files, or cause other problems. All of a sudden, your system is slow. You can't get some files. Your files, important documents are missing. It's a pointer, right? That your system or your network is under an attack. Then, unlike viruses, Trojans don't make copies of themselves. Instead, they trick you into installing them through fake emails or software updates. And now we have, e.g., we have the Rocket Trojan, the Sony BMG. Usually, it follows music. If you're good at downloading music, this Trojan follows is a kind of virus that comes along when you download music from unauthorized sites, right? Or infected sites. So be careful where you get your music and how you download them. Then the Z boots, the Dridex are banking Trojans. They cut away with people's financial confidential data information. So this is it. Okay. All right. I think for now, for today, that will be all for today. Any more question? we get to that. How do we detect worms on our system? So we get to that tomorrow. I wouldn't want to. Good evening, ma. Is there a way we can cross-check links and messages to know if we are malicious? I think that is all. That is what we'll discuss tomorrow. All these cookies that always pop up on sites while downloading or surfing internet, are they form of malware? Not all of them. Not all cookies are malicious, right? Not all cookies are malicious. I have a question, ma, for people that are okay. I have a question, ma, for people that are able to have access to certain data just by gaining access to VPN. Please, can you shed more light on how that works and how we can use cybersecurity to tackle that? All of these, we're going to touch all of them. The use of VPN and all of that, we'll touch them. So bits by bits, right? Tomorrow we'll do a hands-on. We'll carry out a phishing hands-on. So make sure you attend classes tomorrow, right? So what do malwares have in common that can be used in detecting them? All of these, we are coming to that. I'm not even done with malwares, right? So we have a lot of them. When I'm done with listing them and what they do, and then we'll now go further to discuss how to detect them. How do we know someone is spying on us? Very good. We'll talk on that. We'll talk on that. There are many applications you can use to detect. There are many codes you can use to detect if someone is spying on you. When we get there, Olawa. How can Trojan spy on you? What you're doing without you giving access? Just as what I said, Trojan itself doesn't need you to know it's spying on you, right? It doesn't need to know it's spying on you. It is you being always at the edge to know, and also to always, update your system and check for all of these malicious activities. What if those games that gain access to our personal information are deleted? Will our data be safe? Depending on the level of what if those games that gain access to our personal information are deleted? Will our data be safe? Yeah, that's why most times you're being asked to do your password updates. Also, we talked of the multi-factor authentication, right? So all of this will help, even if your information is being taken as a result of maybe downloading games and all of that. Once you update your password and all of that, you have your multi-factor authentication. It helps curb some of these abnormalities. So what if those games that gain access, okay, are deleted? Will our data be safe? Yeah, depending on the degree of data that was stolen. Okay. Any other question? So we wouldn't want to have information overload. Tomorrow we'll continue from where we stopped, and also we'll be having some hands-on some of this malware attacks we talked about. So make sure you're in class tomorrow. I'm sorry, not tomorrow. We wouldn't meet tomorrow, sorry. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Our classes are scheduled for Tuesdays and not Wednesday. So I think we'll see you'll be getting an email to that effect for your next class. And then I'm sure we'll be doing some of these as hands-on. You know when your system is being spied on. You know when you have a worm or a virus. All of this will be discussed in our next class. Okay. Any question? All right, in the absence of none, thank you for coming to class today. Hope you had a wonderful time. See you in our next class.
The world of technology is constantly evolving, which means there's always an opportunity to learn and grow.
My name is Oyebode Esther. I studied religious studies at the University of Ibadan.
My name is Ifeoluwa. I studied cell biology and genetics in University of Lagos, after which I got a job working in the bank.
My name is Regina Taiwo. You wouldn't believe I studied architecture in school.
I knew there was more, so I decided to take a leap. Currently, I am a product designer and a product manager.
I'm currently a motion graphics designer.
Presently, I am a data scientist and an AWS cloud engineer.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining the class today. We want to say thank you very much, and we hope that you enjoyed the class. Please ensure that you fill the attendance that was sent to the class. I see many of you asking questions about your class schedule and timetable. Please note that all these informations have been thoroughly thought of, and those informations have been sent to your email. Please ensure that you constantly check your emails. We've also sent informations to you on how to join our Telegram community, where you'll be having first-hand information to all the informations that we're going to be sending. So please ensure that you check your emails constantly, because that is where we'll be sending all the informations that you will be needing or that you'll be getting to. So please ensure that you send, you check your emails, and that you respond to those emails as appropriately. Your timetables have been sent to your emails, and the link to the community has also been sent to your email. Thank you very much. Whatever question that you have will be attended to. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.
The world of technology is constantly evolving, which means there's always an opportunity to learn and grow.
My name is Oyebode Esther. I studied religious studies at the University of Ibadan.
My name is Ifeoluwa. I studied cell biology and genetics in University of Lagos, after which I got a job working in the bank.
My name is Regina Taiwo. You wouldn't believe I studied architecture in school.
I knew there was more, so I decided to take a leap. Currently, I am a product designer and a product manager.
I'm currently a motion graphics designer.
Presently, I am a data scientist and an AWS cloud engineer.
I understand that being a lady is not a disadvantage, so I embrace tech.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
Now I can say I'm a thriving Texas.
Are you ready to break new grounds and join the world of tech? The Ladies in Tech Africa initiative is a commemorative bootcamp in honor of our visionary, Pastor Mrs. Folu Adeboye, as we join her in thanking God for her 76th birthday celebration. This program is designed to help you make your career shift a reality. Registration is open, and you can register via the link on your screen right now.